Ranting is gay. As a guy, you probably agree with me. If you don't, then you probably like men. To some of you, this is unquestionable logic, no questions asked. To others, probably madness. For the latter, I'll unravel this madness for you, and for the former, I'll show you how to beat those demons. Which demons, you may ask? Those which haunt us to an early grave. Yeah, I know, I'm talking about that big old taboo subject. Depression, how do you deal with it? The solution to dealing with male depression, in particular, is probably shown in how the woman managed to deal with it. I mean, after all, when you look at the numbers, a much larger number of men will terminate themselves than women. Why? When things go wrong in a woman's life, for example, let's say she got dumped, what's the first thing they'll do? They'll cry and vent to all of their friends, crying and sobbing in their arms as they make known all of their problems and feelings. They'll do this for a short while, and once it's out, they're over it. There's been a bunch of research to back this up as well, like Adams et al. In 2011 found that when receiving distressing news with a best friend present, it buffers the impact on participant happiness and subjective measures of self-worth compared to those who received the news alone. TLDR softens the blow when you hear it from a friend. What will a guy do? They'll probably try to distract themselves from the problem, either by going to the gym and expressing their emotions within the weights, or they'll simply put on a brave face and act like nothing is happening. Meanwhile, they're sobbing and crying themselves to sleep every night for months on end. I'll ask you this question. Which is healthier? Which option truly confronts the issue at hand? Which group is statistically more likely to get past these obstacles in life and avoid falling face first in the dirt of depression? Who beats depression? The woman. Why? It's because there's strength in numbers. When there's more people to help you and you know it, you'll be stronger and bolder in your fight. You win more battles and eventually win the war. If the answer's so obvious then, why don't more guys do it?
Venting is gay. Women do it.
Hold up.
It's weird. In any other topic or group of topics other than the deep personal thoughts, guys are the better communicators. It's obvious. When we say that we're hungry, simple as. If a woman says she's hungry, she's either not hungry or unable to decide her own meal, waiting for yours to come so she can munch. You'll just have to assume the worst. If we're confused and need help. If a woman presents herself as confused, but she doesn't want an explanation, it's mansplaining and you're a misogynist. If a man's horny, he'll outright tell his girl straight up, or you just have to look down. If a woman's horny, it's up to the guy to read the signals. Honestly, most of those are missed. However, this all changes as soon as the topic turns on us and we're forced to reflect on ourselves. This is the root source of the problem which makes it so difficult for Jews to talk about depression, resulting in males being the dominant majority of suicides. The sad truth is most Jews would rather give anything else in the world but our deepest fears and troubles. That's mad. How do we fix that? To answer that question, we need to answer the age-old question. What makes a man gay?
Wait, what? That's got nothing to do with depression.
You might be saying. Hear me out. It'll all make sense very soon. So, what does it mean to be gay? In simple terms, it's when a man wishes to develop a romantic and/or sexual relationship with another man in the same manner that a straight man would want to develop a romantic and/or sexual relationship with a woman. If that was understood by every guy to be the case, no ifs, ands, or buts, then this discussion wouldn't need to be had. After all, how's venting gonna make a straight man want to have sex with another dude? Okay, so how then is venting gay? That's where the socially constructed definition of gay comes in. Stereotypically girl-only behaviors which guys copy from straight women. To avoid confusion for those of you who may be struggling to understand Rule 7 of the Bro Code, I'll be using the word zesty to mean this new definition of gay, and gay to represent homosexual feelings or relationships, aka wanting to get pegged in the butt. Being zesty involves a couple of things: talking in an abnormally high voice, unlike mine, painting your nails, waving your hands like a girl, talking about girly gossip, fashion and drama, shaping that dump truck, and such. A great example of what a zesty man looks like is Drake.
What did
Yeah,
he say?
I'm going there. Drake is a straight male who uses a lot of the lingo associated with women, like slay, giving, and of course that clip we all have living rent-free in our heads.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, I can't do it. This makes him zesty because he acts like how gays are seen in society. Woman wannabes. On the other hand, a man can be gay without acting zesty. Take the dude who plays Barney in How I Met Your Mother. He's gay. For a long time, I had no clue because he never presented himself in a zesty manner, like other gays such as James Tarr. He looked like a straight guy, talked like a straight guy, and acted like a straight guy. Barney, not James Charles, obviously. He's like the zestiest man I've ever seen. Alright, cool. Now that that's sorted, we can now move back onto the topic at hand. How is venting gay? It's simply a zesty act when guys do it because it's behavior which originates from and is most prevalent in women. So when a guy does it, it's a behavior which is being copied from girls. Therefore, gay. Or should I say zesty? When a guy vents, he's being zesty because that's what women do, and that's gay.
What did he say?
So, why is it a problem if a guy is falsely perceived as gay when he acts zesty? I'll tell you simply, people don't like being misrepresented. That's a general trait we share. Same with guys, same with girls. A guy doesn't want to be seen as gay when he's not because he might lose out on potential mates and have to deal with more unwanted gay suitors. Also, the guys around him will just straight up use this to put him at the center of so many gay jokes that others would begin to question his sexuality. I've seen this firsthand, it's not nice. Most people would die for a friend, but how many would live for a friend? I don't exactly remember where I heard this quote from, but a guy who does come to mind whenever I think of this is Paddy the Baddy. If you don't know who he is, he's a UFC fighter who openly talked about one of his best friends committing suicide. He said that he'd rather the friend opened up to him whilst he was alive rather than end his life on his own. I feel the same way. Depression is a battle, most of them are won in numbers. The more people you involve in your fight, the stronger you can fight against the temptation to end it all, and the more likely you are to survive. It's in your best interest to share those feelings. Keeping them will only hurt yourself. So once again, I urge you to think about this quote. If you saw nothing worth living for in life, would you still hang on for the sake of your friend and family who depend on you to be alive for them, to spare them from the miserable fate of coping with an unexpected, preventable death which arose from beneath their noses? If the answer is no, then why do you consider them your friends and not merely acquaintances, people you hang around just for the sake of it? Alright, so how do I find the depressed ones? 9 times out of 10, the depressed one is never the obvious doom and gloomer. The last person that a person who struggles with depression wants is to make themselves a target for poor, cheesy attempts to plaster over their depression with pathetic platitudes and meaningless waffling sessions with their therapist. Because of this, they'll spend a lot more time presenting themselves as normal, but not how you'd expect. Because they know that we'd be looking at an isolated, introverted crowd for the depressed, they'll more likely present themselves as the opposite, highly extroverted, surrounding themselves with lots of people to take the attention away from themselves. They'll also present themselves more as warm and cuddly instead of insecure for the same exact reasons. This is why you should start talking more with these kinds of people, the people you'd least expect otherwise. Trust me, you'll find them a lot faster this way. I've got a guy in my school who was known, he's not dead, we've just graduated, but he was known for giving the best hugs. He would always be wearing long sleeves no matter what the weather was, sunny, cold, doesn't matter. Initially, I didn't think much of it, until like one day, his sleeves were rolled up a bit higher than usual and I saw why. He'd been cutting himself, presumably during his episodes in the bathroom or at home. Obviously, I was quite shocked. I went to another guy that I knew who was fighting his cutting addiction, and all he said was to talk to him. Don't make it obvious that you know he's depressed, but gently let him know that he can talk to you. Give him that opportunity to vent. And obviously, he might suffer from the same thing we all do.
Venting is scary.
Or should I say zesty. Of course, you're going to need to get past that roadblock, but once you do that and get him to open up, you'll both find things a lot easier. There's a couple ways you can start to get open up past that. I mean, the first one, I guess, is just hug him and just listen. Pull a woman. If you've got something to say, let them say it. If they don't let their thoughts out verbally, you might otherwise find them expressed on a suicide note. So, what do you say? Sometimes they're waiting for somebody else to convince them to not give up. If that's the case, start here. Your friends, your family, your homies, your ride or dies. Are you their ride or die? Think about it. You can't be their ride or die if you can't live for them, let alone die for them. Think about it. Many people would die for their friends, but far fewer would live for their friends. When you feel like there's no reason to keep going to put yourself through the misery you call life, can you still hang on just for the sake of them? Will you? If you're willing to fight until death for them, then fight death itself for them. Live. Live for your friends and family if not for yourself. The pain they'll feel knowing that you're gone and the guilt they'll place upon themselves upon realizing that if they were face to face with you, you wouldn't have given up, that pain will be too much. Can you trust them to handle all of this pain and guilt? Do you wish this pain and guilt upon them? If the answer is no, or if you care about them, don't. I beg of you, please don't. Don't give up. Thinking about how you're gonna live, it's like riding a bicycle. Eventually you'll just do it without thought. Just take the first pedals, move your feet, keep going, step after step after step. You don't think about it, just like how you probably don't think about it today. Before things went bad, that's all you did. In order to get through this tough season, you've got to do it again. You need to stop thinking about how you're going to live and just live. Your only problem is finding the food and drink to make it through the day. Start there. The rest will follow. Trust me, you've been doing it your whole life. Keep going.